My name is Moomal. I'm from Ajmer, Rajasthan, and I have stayed in Bangalore, I think, for about 5 years now. And I did my undergrad here, and straight right after graduating, which was last year, I joined the fellowship. So Siddharth Kalra was, I think, two batches above, and he would visit where I was staying back in Yelahanka quite often. And very generally, what are you doing? How are you doing? And he would often give these brief snippets of this is what we're doing. So yeah, I got interested in what kind of work he was doing, and that though at that time I didn't imagine myself that I wanted to do the same, but after I think graduating and the whole lockdown thing, it got me thinking that research is something a place I wanted to explore. And while urban was not so much high on my focus list, but yeah, like I was quite open to the idea. I think. Basically I was ready to explore. I was like, this is something I've never done before, and it would be just nice to go in with not setting benchmarks for myself as well, like this is what I have to come out with the fellowship with. Academics and research, these were some broad lenses. I was like, let's just go into it and see how it feels. So yeah. Yes, I really appreciate that, the interdisciplinary part, because in my undergrad, I did industrial design and contemporary art, along with a little bit film, little bit experimental media. So I really got the hang of, it's really interesting to be able to mix formats and mediums. And I basically knew what interdisciplinary could look like. Like I could envision something in a research space, what it may be able to give me. So before it was most of the work was kind of abstract, even when thinking about governance, environment, and identity. I felt personally in my own work, I was dealing at a very abstract scale. But at IHS, it really brought me down, took me back up, brought me down. So, it was really interesting to change scales within these different sort of layers. So, yeah, I think, yeah, engagement was very deep and rich in the sense that you got a much more holistic picture of what was going on. Yes, definitely. Like, as an example, I'd say in one of Amog's electives on practice of economics in the urban, the submission was around 26th January, and we had to make an economic model on the farm laws. So it was like as a class, we were all like sitting in a room and just seeing updates on WhatsApp, and at the same time trying to, still give ourselves a distance and be able to make a deductive economic model on an issue like that. So I think that tension with that day really gave me a very strong insight of, this is how it would mean to work in an academic space with some very contemporary and relevant issues. So yeah. I wanted to sort of diversify into another ways of how I could use more tangible skills in the field. So I took geospatial lab, I took data skills, and qualitative research. So I thought these are the three things I'd never done before, and it would be nice to not understand it completely, but just have a small opening to it and be open to the idea that this is something I would like to explore further in my own practice or education. I think what I really enjoyed was being able to connect by myself, like taking a concept from a governance class and applying it to identity and so on, so forth with economics and environment. I think, and it didn't have to be very explicit, just like, some connections you just make in your own head. And in that 1 second of clarity, you're just like, okay, yes, I know what this is. So I think that is something I really enjoyed. I think the online format was, I would have really appreciated if it was offline, but considering the circumstance, it was a great effort. But I did, in Urban Arc, I really enjoyed, I think, one Gotham session on materiality and transversality. But yeah, there were some very interesting perspectives on it, coming all the way from like South America to Indonesia to, yeah, I think it was just interesting to have different perspectives on some things sometimes. So we're doing a project which is tracing the impact and recovery of COVID on domestic workers in Jaipur, and we're working with the union, Rajasthan Mahila Kamgar Union, and yeah. So they are doing most of the work actually. They are going on field, they are getting the survey. Like from our part, we only could design the survey, and they had to go and do the field interviews and case studies and videos. So yeah, I feel most of the very thick work in that research would entail has been done by them, which I really appreciate. What we are doing mostly is just collating that information, making sense of it, analyzing it, and yeah. So one of the outputs is a report, but at the same time, since the union is also someone we are working and co-producing all this with, so they have certain demands as well. Like they want a video output, they want a document output, which they can send to government officials. So yeah, like we are meeting demands on both sides, something that we want to do and something that they also require us to do. It's a very short time, so don't think you're busy in October, because you're really not. You'll, I think, the, as the program goes forward, the tempo just increases and a lot of things happen, and it may or may not make sense then and there, but I feel slowly by time things do start to fall in place and make more sense. And just, yeah, it's intimidating, it's fast, it's a lot of fun, and yeah, great people and great time. Yeah, it's a great time, I think, no matter what, like some ups and downs there, but it's a good time.